Welcome to Book Please Podcast. It's Elina here, and I have my girlies with me.
Hi, it's Nata.
Hi guys, it's Amanda.
So before we get started, let's address the elephant in the room because Amanda and I showed up in the same sweatshirt, unplanned, and I just need a disclaimer up front. Let it show.
Unplanned.
Completely unplanned. Actually, it's so cute that we both thought this way. We are so excited. We're having a guest on next week. Her name is Alexandria Rizik, and she's a poetry author, among other things. She is amazing. I've seen some interviews she's already done. She's just dropped her poetry book called Pieces of Me. So we're going to have her on next week. You guys should check out her book. Her website is alexandriarizik.com where you can get her book. And she sent us these amazing sweatshirts. She sent us each a book and other things. She's so sweet. And look at us.
It's just so comfortable. I live in it.
I love the sweatshirt and we're so excited to have her on. So yes, tune in next week. We'll talk more about it later in the episode, but that's why we're wearing these sweatshirts at the same time. And I love a crew neck. I live in a crew neck. It is like my staple wardrobe and it's like oversized. And I'm living my best life in this sweatshirt.
So cute. Can't wait to get
cute,
mine.
Amanda.
Yes, you both do. But Elina, it was just your birthday.
Yes.
You celebrated your birthday this past week.
She turned 25.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
She definitely looks like
every
it.
year.
You
I
can be
turn
like
25.
the nanny. Yes, the nanny that always lies about her age.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to ask you, like you asked me when it was my birthday, what are you going to take in with you into the new year that you learned this year?
As I've gotten older, like something that really hasn't clicked for me that I felt like this year I put into practice was like being a little more comfortable expressing myself and setting boundaries. And it's a little bit like sort of similar to your answer, like how you were saying more like living for yourself, being purposeful, like letting things go, being in the present. But those are all things that I've, tried to really, stick to this past year, but setting boundaries and expressing myself, letting people know like, hey, like, I'm just letting you know, this is how I felt, and feeling better about feeling like I am allowed to, you know what I mean? Because sometimes you have in your head, like, oh, maybe I shouldn't, or you have every right to just express how you feel.
Right.
And I think it's a result of just everything all the consequences of never doing it. And just learning like, this is what happens when you don't set your boundaries and give yourself some self-respect.
I was just going to say, I don't know why I have not bought you both the book yet, Set Boundaries, Find Peace, but everything you're saying right now is everything I learned in that book.
Yes, you always reference this book. It's like the Holy Bible.
It really is. It's just like you said, you need to like speak up. Like, we can't expect people to be mind readers. And my issue, I would say I have, is I'm very passive aggressive. I just expect you to know. So after reading that book, I'm like, you know what? I just got to communicate better. You know, like I can't expect everyone to have common sense. No offense, everyone else. But, I think it's great to be outspoken.
Yeah. I think for me, it's always the fear of just not keeping the peace or sabotaging a friendship or whatever it is. And I'm like, no, this is how you maintain a friendship. This is how you teach people your language of like how you want to be cared for and understood. And it's as simple as that. And there's nothing wrong with it. And it's not like being argumentative or combative. And
I think delivery is everything too. Like, it's how you deliver it. You
don't my delivery is soft and sweet.
It's sweet, exactly.
Yes, it is.
Well, I think that's great. And happy birthday, Queen.
Thank you. You know what's funny? I sat up and I made a list the night before, like after midnight, of a couple things that I was like proud of myself for doing this past year.
Oh, I love that.
And I've never done that before. I don't know what possessed me to do it, but I just sat and jotted some things down.
And you just stored it and you're gonna
it's just like in my notes. If you guys want, I'll read a couple. Like,
yeah, why not? I mean, if they're not private.
So I'll read a few. Like, I don't know what possessed me to do it. I was just sitting on my phone. It was after midnight, just reflecting. And one thing I was proud of this year that I was able to do that's always been on my list was I got a therapist.
Yes.
Number 2 on this list, starting a podcast. Guys,
yes.
my dream, and I'm so thankful to be on this journey with you both. I'm proud of myself as a dog mom. Of
Yes,
course.
and you are a very good one. I
Thank
love
you.
your dog.
Like, I really am a mother. So starting to feel more comfortable expressing myself and setting boundaries and investing more in my health and fitness journey.
Yes,
you do.
Those are really
all
good
of those
ones.
now. Yeah.
So yeah, that was so fun.
So proud.
That when you said list, that's kind of like my girlfriend gave me some advice my last birthday last year to kind of write a few things that I want to leave in the past year, if it's like emotions or things that I was feeling guilty over. And I did, like, I wrote like a letter to myself of all the things that I'm going to leave in the year behind. And I just stored it somewhere, and I'm going to open it in my birthday in like January in a few months, and I'm going to reflect and
I thought you were
see
going to say you're going to burn it.
anything's
That's what I would
changed.
do. I'd write it down and be like, burn, it's gone.
I mean, I want to read it and see if I've changed anything.
Are you going to make a new list?
Oh, of course. I want to do this every year now.
That's really nice. And it's like just therapeutic. It's like you put it down on paper and you're done with it.
Yeah, people say that's like therapeutic to write it and not think about it. I write it and I still think about it. Like, it just doesn't like go away.
Think about
Cross it out.
Yeah, no, it doesn't go away.
Well, you do that and you remind yourself and you work through it. And I've heard a lot of things too, is like when you're trying to manifest certain things and move forward past them. So like, let's say you take that and you reflect and you leave it in the past, then you speak of the things going forward as a positive. So when somebody says, like, let's say like you're somebody like me who runs late, right? And you're panicking about getting somewhere and you're all flustered and you're like, I'm not going to be late. I'm not going to be late. I'm not going to be late. But your brain is going late, late, late.
Yeah.
So what you should be doing is saying, I'm going to be on time. Everything's going to go smooth. I'm going to be calm. All positive words of saying the same thing.
So when you said manifesting, on Thursday, me and my two girlfriends are going to my one girlfriend's house and we're making vision boards. So we're going to do that like fun little activity. Although I made one a few years ago and I like hid it in my room. I didn't want anyone to see it because it's so personal. Like what you have on your vision board, I feel like it could be like kind of embarrassing if someone else sees it. So funny story with that. I had it on this like huge board, all this like weird cringy stuff. And I hid it. My boyfriend was coming over. So I hid it under my bed.
Yeah, because it's like rings.
Yeah, no, seriously. And something happens with my bed frame and my boy. And I forgot that it was even under there. And he's like playing around with it. And he opens up the thing and he's like, what the hell is this? It's like a man in a ring in a house and all this cringe stuff. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know where that came from. But I just
all you had to do is say expectations.
Learn it,
look at it, stare at it, keep it.
It was literally like a picture of him, like a shrine. And he's like, what is this? I'm like, I don't know.
Vision boards are great.
It was an art project.
But I'm excited for Thursday.
Another
to
thing
do this.
That's so beautiful and something I've always wanted to do, and I've said it and I put it off. So now you're inspiring me. Another thing that you can do, or people can do in general, is a great way to manifest is having your lock screen in a way that you're not uncomfortable, putting some words or a photo collage, of things that you're manifesting. I had one where I made a little collage and it was like health and I am rich, I am beautiful, I am strong, I am, just little things and little pictures of things. And that's what you see. How many times do you look at your phone?
I'm not going to show you guys because it's embarrassing, but mine is like me when I was like at my body goals, like a few years ago. So mine is literally me.
Oh, I've seen it.
No,
it's her in her fittest self with the juiciest booty. And
that's the only thing that's like relatable because it's you. It's not like you're trying to be like Victoria Beckham or like Kim Kardashian. You're just trying to be who you used to be.
Anytime I put my phone down, I'm like, someone's gonna look at it and be like, "What does she have?"
I wouldn't care.
No, exactly. No, it's fine. It's just like a fit picture. It's totally fine.
Yeah.
So I mean, good for us. Honestly, I feel like just in general, this year, I've just been trying to be grateful, give myself grace, appreciate life. When people were like, oh, like, let's, do you want to celebrate this, that, the other? I'm like, honestly, I'm just fine. I'm just thankful to be here, to be young, to be healthy, to be learning and growing, and really just appreciating life. And funny thing, when we were, not that you were away, but when we were, celebrating my birthday and everyone was coming over, we all look at our phones and we saw that it was just like so sad, that actor Matthew Perry had passed away, who was Chandler Bing in Friends. And what an iconic, timeless, like actor who I feel like has just touched so many people across generations. He's like comfort, he's comic relief, he's so many things to so many people. And what we saw was that he was in an apparent drowning accident. He was found in his hot tub by his assistant. And now they don't exactly know what happened. There was a cardiac arrest call made to first responders who came, and he was pronounced dead, unfortunately. So tragic. He was 54 years old. They're still doing an autopsy. They've deferred it further to do a toxicology report. He was, over his lifetime has faced struggles with drug addiction and things like that. They said no illicit drugs were found on the premises. However, there were some like prescription drugs, anti-anxiety meds, and things like that were found. So whether it were accidental or intentional, that could be something, but let's not speculate. We don't know. But I just think like what an icon and what a tragic, like sudden death.
Yeah, so sad. I mean, he'll always be iconic. Friends will always be running. He'll never be forgotten.
I'm sure while you were celebrating your birthday and you saw that, you were probably like, oh, life is so short.
Always.
Like it really is.
I see these things happen like so quickly and like just out of nowhere. And every time I do that whole thing, it's like a renewed like gratefulness in that moment. And it's so sudden and so very sad. And there's one thing I would love to read. There was a quote in Time magazine that he said, I would like to be remembered as somebody who lived well, loved well, was a seeker. And his paramount thing is that he wants to help people. And the one thing that he said was like, although he had his ups and downs with his battle of addiction, he said that the one thing that he could promise and deliver on was that if anybody asked for help, that he would not turn them down, that he would always say yes. And he knew that whether or not he could help himself, he could help others. And he knew how to do that. And that's something
I know.
Yeah.
It's so
just puts things into perspective, I guess, and have to be grateful for the moments we have here and make the most of them, however we choose to make them.
Remember, was that ever like your comfort? I remember anytime I was home, especially like on my sick days, like the reruns, all of that, like that was always that show that was on that I loved. And Fresh Prince.
They have memes
like
that'll always be around. The Thanksgiving one, like that one's.
Oh my gosh, the big turkey.
Yes.
They were all.
Believe it or not, I've never watched that show. Ever.
Stop.
No.
You have to go through and watch the whole. You of all
I know
people,
it's iconic.
90s queen, not that didn't watch Friends.
I haven't.
I loved Friends.
I have no words, but I just feel like just still you can feel the impact regardless. It's just he was one of those people, and he and his co-stars had like such a magical special bond. Like this show was never supposed to take off the way it was. There were just so many pieces that just worked out by chance, is down to the cast. And Lisa Kudrow, who played Phoebe, is actually attempting to adopt his dog.
Oh,
so I'm like,
she's a sweetheart. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It's just, what made me sick though? The paparazzi photos. I don't know if you guys saw those, but coming from a journalist, we have to take so many morals and ethics classes. Like we have to, if you're going to post a photo, it's with a purpose and it helps the viewer tell the story. And there's certain things. This made me sick and would never fly at any publication I've ever worked at, but they were just publishing photos of his parents arriving on scene in their cars, walking through the caution tape, his mother, his father, his stepdad arriving. And it's like, and like, of course it's like low life, like it's like TMZ, that's like bottom of the barrel.
I think ever since the Kobe Bryant incident is when I like TMZ is just like downhill.
TMZ has always been downhill for me.
Like after they did all that
ruthless.
stuff with
ruthless.
Yeah.
I remember being in the newsroom when Kobe died at my news station, and we would not report because at the time they were saying, and it was TMZ saying that Kobe and all his daughters were on the plane. Like they made it seem like it was just his wife who was just like left on the ground. Mind you, she learned from the news, which is disgusting. There's a rule, like you have to notify next of kin. Second of all, there was no conversation. People were talking out of their ass, and they ruined people's lives for a story. It's disgusting. Like you have to have a moral compass.
And even these memes, people are making awful memes about him, and it's like, it's not funny. Like
about Kobe?
Social media.
No, about Matt.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I saw one related to his drug. Like it was very distasteful. But people on the internet too, they're so quick to be bullies. It's sad.
Well, that just makes me sick.
We got to be grateful for what we have and live the best way we can.
Yes.
100%. May he rest in peace. Thank you, Matt, for all those years, and we'll continue to watch. And he actually has a memoir, so maybe we should look into his book.
I heard it.
Let us know, you guys, if you want us to, maybe that's something we can talk about, at another time, maybe reading his memoir. It's supposed to be really insightful about like all the things he went through, and it's just, that's how you leave a legacy. It's a beautiful thing that we have that. So love books, what a nice way to keep his life and legacy always alive. Yes. Let's shift gears to a different book that we read this week. We did finish The Coworker by Freida McFadden. Which one of my girlies wants to go first?
I can. So I totally feel like by the end of the book, I kind of predicted everything with Amelia, with Caleb, with Dawn. Once we found out there was a part 2, I knew it was going to be Dawn's version because Freida McFadden is notorious for when she does part 2. It's like the extreme opposite in a different character. So I don't know. I felt like it was kind of sick what we found out about Natalie being a bully and Amelia and how all that happened. And Dawn ended up being such a good friend. Like, what she was doing was evil, but she was willing to do everything and anything to honor Amelia.
I agree with most of that. Like, we basically spelt it out. We were like, how many times was, I like Dawn is still alive. Although the Caleb thing, I didn't know exactly how he would fit in, but it makes sense. Down to in the last episode when Amanda and I did our review, we were like, she keeps saying that she wants there to be a body. She's going to try and kill herself for there to be a body. Like she will go that low. I feel like we figured it all out. It was there for us. I wouldn't think of her as a good friend. I think of her as a psychopath. Like, I
agree.
Caleb maybe had a better, a better way of handling that.
Like, yes, kill my friends for me.
No,
kill them if they treat me bad.
She was a sicko.
No, I mean, I was like, wow, what a loyal friend.
No, I was like, what a sick bitch. Like, she even would say things like about Amelia, like, would she be this vengeful for me? I'm not sure she'd take it this far. She would even tell me I went too far. Like when we had the nuggets there. Like, remember when she pushed somebody off the monkey bars when she was a kid? She had like told that story, and this person is like laying bloodied, and she's like, I did it for her. And Amelia even was like, whoa, like relax. Excessive, like, I don't need you to do that. It's a little out of touch. And like, she's obviously unwell, like her obsessive tendencies, her with the turtles, her with her friend. It's like, she cannot.
She killed someone and she felt nothing and wanted to like.
I was glad, honestly, I wanted to throw the whole book away when everything just started to settle and I figured it out. And then we're like, well, she's at the pier. I was at least grateful I had that moment when we find out, because you did say, Amanda, like, this body is somebody and Dawn is behind it. I was at least grateful that it was Tara, because I was like, okay, like, at least there's something.
You say you were grateful?
Yeah, because I needed something to surprise me.
But how didn't Caleb recognize her name? Like, see, I'm a realist. So I feel like some of these parts didn't add up. Like, you don't know what the brother looks like of a girl that you made kill herself. Yes, they had different last names, but still, you don't know what he looks like. Like, come on. And then, Caleb not recognizing her name when they found out who the dead body was. I was just like, the two girls bullying your sister.
Police just never putting together that they knew each other. They went to the same high school.
Yeah. Right.
Freida, my girl, you got to tie up those loose ends.
So Natalie then didn't bully Dawn.
She did?
Like throw away the cupcakes and all of that.
Oh, no, not in the office, no.
All of that was made up.
No, she was mean. She was mean to her, but not to the extent of like
that Dawn was saying.
Yeah.
She was stealing money.
She was stealing money, yes.
I was kind of annoyed that it like flipped at the very end in the epilogue. Because then I'm like, oh, now Natalie's a bitch too. But that made sense because I was like, are you kidding? I was a little bit annoyed with her because I was like, this bitch just tried to kill you. Then you get off the pier and you're like, oh, look at her with Caleb. It makes me want to tear up. I'm like, she almost threw a cinder block at your head.
Yeah, they're both crazy.
You're so highly unwell.
Yeah, I think they're the same person. I think they would have been really good friends if they like...
The ending was super underwhelming, and my coworker, I remember her tell.
You're like my crazy coworker.
My coworker was telling me like what she was reading before we started reading the Coworker, and I was like, oh my god, like we're gonna read the Coworker, and she said she hated the ending. So now I can kind of see why she said that. Yeah, because it was like underwhelming.
I just feel like by the end, I just hated every character. So there was nothing for me to like.
Caleb was an idiot. He proposed to her. What?
The whole thing. But also, he didn't know about Tara.
But how does he not know the girl that bullies his sister?
I also
don't
understand why Natalie wouldn't just get her locked up. Like,
because she knows she was stealing money. So they both had secrets on each other. Yeah,
but that's already been buried. Like, Seth. She's going to be in jail.
I mean, she could be scared of her. She seemed low.
I would think that, it would only be safe if this woman's locked up at that point. They were all just like mad.
Oh, mad. Yeah.
And then we find out that Natalie, like at first I kind of was like feeling bad. It's like she's the only character I held on to, even though I didn't really like her. And I was like, you're kind of cringe and you're having an affair. Then she's the one who clued in the wife the whole time about the affair. You dirty bitch. Are you serious?
When I read that part, I wasn't surprised. I was like, I knew she was going to be a little psycho, just like Dawn.
Yeah, but it sounds like Seth and Natalie are going to get married.
Why did they not that? I asked Amanda this.
I thought Caleb got engaged.
Yes, no, but she's saying like they're getting so
they're
serious.
Yeah. Like, and they're on their path. Like they're like in love and all this stuff. And he's doing the most for her. But I wanted to ask you, because I was saying this to Amanda last time. I don't remember them ever giving a description of Seth. But why do I feel like he's like this like creepy overweight boss? Like that's all I picture.
Dawn like comments on his looks when she's like, oh, they're way too close and touchy feely. And
what did she say about his looks?
She said she could see why. He's like an attractive man,
Oh, okay.
He's married.
I pictured a fat, ugly, grimy boss.
No, I think if Caleb was cute and attracted to her personality, I knew he had to be like.
Are you saying that because of like the bad description she gave about the guy that was at the copy machine, and she was like, okay, like I could get with him kind of thing?
I think what stuck with me was in the very beginning when we met Seth, and she was just like, if before we knew about the affair, it felt like he was like a grimy boss preying on her. So it stuck with me. Like she was like, oh, his ring is off, and he's making comments and he's making passive aggressive advances, and she was like ignoring them, and she's like, my boyfriend Caleb, blah blah blah, and like he was like, oh, how's Caleb, like making these remarks at her, but we didn't know at the time that they ever had a thing. So I was sitting there like, you gross, like you creep, like stop preying on the girl in the office who reports to you. So I just put this ugly picture together of this man that's like a creep. And then
While you were just describing that, it made me think of like random, but you know, when Dawn was in the hotel room with Caleb, when we find out like they're together or whatever, and Dawn was like, no, like thinking in her head, overthinking, and I'm thinking, this is so many girls. No, you wanted to be with Natalie. And he's like, I was doing what you told me to do. And she's like, no, I know a part of you wanted to be with her, and a part
I
of
don't
you
agree
like
with that. I think she's
wanted
crazy.
No, but a part of me thought of that. Like, so many girls do that shit. Like, they tell you what to do and then they go back and they're like, but you didn't want to do that, or you did want to do that. I don't know. I just thought
But I felt
that.
like he was in love with her, though. I can see him not like doing anything with Natalie because he loved Dawn.
Oh, yeah.
I was saying this too last episode. Like, I just feel like it was funny of her to bring it up, being that she forced him. Like, he wasn't even down.
Yeah.
Like, that's the difference. It's not like, you know, she was like, go, like, this is the plan, like this above all else. And it's like, now you're sitting there and you planted this insecurity the whole time. You did this. And he wanted no part in it. Even though I'm like, this bitch is like, she's like, what did she do? She chopped her hair off, like, so awkward. She's everything. And you're like, oh, go talk to the smoke show in the office and date her and have dinners and do all this thing and go to her apartment. Like, are you well? Like, what are you doing?
No, we know she's not.
No, she's not well. Even at the end, she's like, Caleb doesn't even want me, and she's ready to jump in the water.
Yeah, like,
and then all she cared about was the turtles. She says, watch the turtles.
He said, yeah, he's like, she gave me these details to take care of. She has this obsessive nature about her. Like, the turtle thing is not normal, right? Like, obviously. Yeah. And the food obsession and the obsession with the friend. Yeah. Like,
I think it's because of her relationship with her mom. She didn't have a relationship with her mom. She had no one except for not Natalie.
Amelia.
Amelia. Amelia was all she had. So I think it was obsessive because she literally had no one else before Caleb came along.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it seemed like Mia was much more normal.
Maybe she purposely didn't reach out because she's like, I'm getting picked on and I don't want to go reach out to my crazy friend who might come kill her.
She was like checking her, and I feel like Caleb too. He was like, I'm not trying to go this far, and that's his blood.
Yeah, they're the same person, yeah.
It just, you know.
She wouldn't have wanted that.
But it was so sad when we found out the way she died because of excessive bullying. Like, no one deserves that. Like, to the point where they go and kill themselves. And there are so many case studies, like people like that, where like groups of girls like will go online and bully a girl or whatever. And and the parents like come see their kid like kill themselves.
It's so much harder now for kids these days. They record everything. We had it better. Honestly, we're just getting exposed to computers and phones.
And this girl was disabled.
Right.
That was one thing that I feel like didn't happen, at least with me growing up. It's like, okay, yes, there was like your classic bullying and this and that. But like if somebody's disabled, we always were so nice. Like, we, you know, any kid in our class would like hold the door open, push the wheelchair, like, you know, we always did that kind of stuff. Like, we would help volunteer in those classrooms. I don't know.
They have it tough
like,
already. It's like, really,
a whole other level of shame.
Yeah, Freida, you're but I
love it. So actually,
twisted.
Something I learned about Freida McFadden, fun fact, is that she was a psychologist or like some kind of therapist or something in that field, psychiatric field. And she began her journey by writing books for her patients, like thrillers and different things for her patients, like short stories, and began publishing them. And that's how she came to be who she is now. And I think that's so cool. But there's definitely some twisted stuff going on out there.
Yeah, for sure. And she keeps bringing out these books like crazy. Like, she writes so quickly. I know there's another book coming up. I think it's called The Teacher. Comes out in February, I think.
Oh my goodness.
I'm reading her book Ward D right now, which is actually supposed to be like The Inmate, that one book that we read. I don't think we read it for the podcast.
I feel like we never talk about this, but I can't binge authors. I feel like you guys can do that.
Oh, I read a lot though, so I feel like I cross read all the time.
Oh, okay. Because I feel like when I read, like reading this book and then reading like The Housemaid, hands down, like one of her best books, like that's, but the more I keep reading books like her, like you said, like we kind of understand like her theme, like what she does when there's a new chapter. I know it's going to be sick and twisted, but then I'm like, okay, now I need something a little more like realistic and normal.
I've been, believe it or not, like reading a lot of love stories lately, like a lot.
Colleen Hoover,
totally
you did that.
Outside of my comfort zone, and it's all because of that Colleen Hoover book.
Believe it.
I love, for me personally, I totally get what you're saying, Amanda, because it becomes predictable, it becomes autonomous, you get their style, so you definitely need a change up. And for me personally, I can't continue, like I can't binge thrillers or like certain genres for it's just too much for me personally, but like can't have too many love stories.
I've been breaking it up lately.
Yeah, no, it's not, that's the best way to do it, honestly. And it like keeps you hooked and interested, because then it just becomes like, it's just like you're beating a dead horse. It's like it drags. But I do want to say, okay, so actually, not that I think that you had mentioned this in one of our author highlights, but Freida McFadden, I just want to express exactly what she is. She's a practicing physician specializing in brain injury. So that's what her medical background is, so that I just want to make sure that I get that correct. But I thought that was so cool that she started off by writing short stories for her patients, and then it became what it is. She became, who she is today.
Well, so Freida, I like your twisted mind.
I honestly, she's amazing because she's still doing her, her trade and then writing on the side.
Unreal.
So she must come home and just write like crazy.
I cannot imagine.
So
you guys,
thank you, Freida, for the good reads.
Yes, thank you, Freida. Hopefully we can have you on one day. That would be a dream. Let's put it on our bucket list. Do you guys want to rate her book?
I guess I'll go first. Okay. 1 out of 5, 3. Wasn't my favorite, but wasn't my least favorite.
Amanda?
I would give it a 3 too. I kind of agree with everything you just said. It was good, easy read. Turtle part was a little annoying. I was like, I'm sick of turtles, but the ending was twisted. So I wouldn't read it again, but I wasn't bad. But it wasn't my favorite. The Housemaid, sorry, that's still the best from her.
I'm like in between a 2 and a 3, I would say, honestly. Like,
so 2.5.
The reason, if I can say 2.5, I will. It sounds too low. Like, I want to say 3, but I just feel like at the same time, I would have been fine never reading it, and I wouldn't recommend it. But did it keep me interested? Yes. Did I want to keep going? Sure. Did I predict pretty much the whole thing with my girl group? Yes.
But it was an easy read. It wasn't, I listened to it. It was an easy listen.
It was an easy read as well. Well, next week, like we said, we'll have a little bit of a reading break because we're not reading a novel, but I would love if you guys could please check out alexandriarizik.com. Amanda's holding up her poetry book, Pieces of Me. It is just, it has, guys, the emotions that are pouring through these pages. It is just unbelievable.
I feel like love the rose on the bottom.
Oh, that's
and her middle name is Rose.
Oh, that's really cute. I just feel like so many women can relate to all the different emotions and feelings of love, heartbreak, just the different emotions that she's going through in this book are just so touching. And I cannot wait to hear from her next week.
Amanda, why don't you read one page out of her book right now while you have it open?
Okay. I bookmarked this one that I like. I've wasted all my wishes on you, none of which came true. I blame myself for loving too much, and sadly, you'll blame me too.
Oh, I love that.
Right? That one's super good. That's one of my favorites.
I have chills. I like that. No,
so relatable.
Her work is just beautiful and so touching, and I have it on my coffee table. The book is so precious, and definitely, please, everyone, check it out. alexandriarizik.com. We'll have the link in our description, and she'll be joining us next week. And look at her merch. We love your sweatshirts. Well, and maybe not that we'll wear hers next week.
Maybe. Do you want to plug in our socials,
yes,
Amanda?
If you're watching us on YouTube, please make sure to subscribe. We would highly appreciate it. We're also on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads at Book Please Podcast. And you can also find us on Twitter/X at Book Please Pod. Thanks, everyone.